Yeah, dudes, back to the D&D show. We got a cool one today. And I know some people just kind of shit on this video. So, I'm gonna do it anyways. Because it's the JSX and the Peavey XXX2. And everyone says they're the same amp. But we're gonna find that out today. Let's do this. All right, instead of me just sitting there talking about it, let's just go through this really quick. And I just want to say that the layout of these amps are exactly the same. So I can understand why everybody's like, man, they're the same amp. I get that. But let's do some tone testing to find out. And in the back of the amps, they're the exact same too. I got a bias adjust there. You can change to EL34 to 606s. You know, it's got the effects loop and all that stuff. So let's get to some of these tones. All right, we go rolling. So I wanted to go through these two amps because I have them, right? Why not? You know, I know everybody on the forums, or not the forums, I just gave my age away there, right? But the Facebook pages like heavy metal amps, and what's the other one? Everything high gain or something. Everyone basically, not everyone, but most people just kind of crapped on the fact that these two are the same, and that it wouldn't be worth it to go through and do a video on the comparison of the two. Well, guess what? I'm gonna do it anyways. Well, let's just see what it sounds like, right? I'm curious about it. Now, obviously, they look exactly the same. The layout is right on par. Noise gates up there, channel selects over there, channel selects over there. I mean, everything, the layout is the same. I get that. Let's go ahead and do some of these tones. So today, I got a Jackson Kelly Kex. This thing is awesome, man. I love this thing. It does have the parallel access in it, and I'm able to, I installed a kill switch on this guitar because, you know, volume knobs are for the weak people. But I can basically just flip the switch and we're ready to go. We can make tones. So I got my amp selectors hooked up here, and I'll be going back and forth between 1 and 2. I have a cab over here out of the frame. It's got vintage V30s and 2 mics, and SM57 and E609. And we're gonna blend those two, well, not blend them, we're gonna put one to the right side, one to the left side. And that's how we're gonna do this video. All right, since we're here, we're gonna start off with the JSX and check out the clean there. What we're gonna do is first listen to the tones of the amp when everything is at noon. And then we're gonna move over and then, you know, kind of dial it in to the way I like it and just see if it, you know, the differences between them, right? And we're gonna do that for each channel. And then we can say, okay, this is the same amp, or, you know, there's a difference in them. All right, so here's the clean for the JSX. All right, so that's what the JSX sounds like. Let's go over to the XXX and just see what that sounds like at noon there too. So here we go. All right, let's do an open chord there, switch over, open chord. Okay, I'm hearing a little more chime to the JSX. So it just sounds like it's like just chimier. Just has like more top end there present. JSX XXX2. Sounds a little hotter too on the XXX2. There's like a bit of breakup that happens sometimes when I do a chord. JSX. Okay, mind you, with the volume level, I have to keep this at a level where it's like I can talk. So I don't want to blast it and stuff. That would be a totally different video if I was just going to blast it or put it to an attenuator so I can, you know, push the preamp tubes. But I don't have it set up that way right now. I could in the future if that is needed. All right, so that's basically the clean. Let's go ahead and dial this in like the way that I would like it. Let's give it a little more treble, right? Cut the mids, bring up the bass, the same thing I always do. All right. And then we'll do the XXX now. See, that sounds pretty dark to me. Definitely bring up the treble. Bring back the mids and bring up the bass. Actually, I feel like I want more presence out of this. The presence is the same and the resonance is the same. Although I do have the presence set to about 3 o'clock for both of them, but they're set to the same thing right now. But at the moment, it still seems a little dark, so I'm gonna push the treble. There we go. That sounds better to my ear. And here's the JSX. Wow. So again, I'm definitely hearing that the JSX is a lot chimier. A little more musical sounding, I guess, is the best way to describe it. But I think I like the clean on the JSX better. You tell me. All right, we're gonna go move over to the crunch channel. All right, crunch there, crunch there. We are on the JSX and everything is at noon. And let's just see what it sounds like off the bat, right? All right, that definitely sounds like a good crunch. You know, it's not too, it's still a little high end for me. I'd want a little bit of thickness to it. Fortunately, we got a switch for that. It's called fat. So we will actually turn that, engage that. Actually, it's engaged there, but we haven't tested that yet. So the fat switch is not engaged on the JSX yet. So let's go ahead and engage that just because I want more of that. Now that sounds freaking awesome. I dig that a lot. Let's go over to the XXX2. Let's see. The fat switch is off, so it should be not as fat, right? That's pretty interesting. There's more gain and it's thicker without the fat switch. Well, let's go back over to the JSX. Now, the JSX sounds a little more mid-forward, to tell you the truth. Like a more Marshall-y. And the XXX, it's definitely more gain. It sounds like it's got a lower bottom end. And this is without the fat switch on, so I'm gonna turn the fat switch on now. That's pretty much metal, dude. Let's go back to JSX. Wow, so there's a big difference in gain here. It might be the tubes. I don't remember what kind of tubes, preamp tubes, are in here, so that might attribute to it. But off the bat, well, a lot less gain. And the XXX, it just sits in that metal territory. Not so much a crunch. So let me back off the gain here. Even a little more. Let's go 9 o'clock. There we go. JSX. There we go. But still, the JSX sounds like it's very mid-forward sounding. So the XXX, let's actually add mids to it. Let's go back to JSX. That's it right there. So yeah, the XXX's crunch is definitely mid-cut. And I think, if I'm quoting Kyle Bull here, but he said that there was like some differences in the mid-forwardness. They apparently fixed that for the XXX2. To me, this sounds a little more undercut. It sounds a little more Mesa to me. So the mids are just kind of not there as much. So obviously, let's look. So it's what, around 2 to 3 o'clock for the XXX2, and then the JSX is just noon. Let's go back to the XXX2. So those sound comparable. I would actually cut the treble. Now that sounds like it. That's the JSX. XXX2. Bring back some more treble. JSX, XXX2. All right, I'm convinced that is what we're hearing with the crunch channel and the XXX2, that it's more scooped. It's more scoop sounding and it's a little bit brighter. So it just takes on more of the Mesa kind of feel. And I think the JSX has more of a Marshall kind of feel to it, you know, with everything set at noon. You know, I always say that, like, if you can set an amp at noon across all the dials, you know, besides the volume, and if it sounds good, you got a good amp. You got, you know, range to go from there. So, all right, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and push the gain on the JSX to see if we can make it like metal sounding, right? Let's go up to 3 o'clock. Yep. And then let's go to XXX2. Let's bring the gain back up to noon. And let's see what that sounds like. JSX. Okay, I want a little more treble in this one. They are both comparable with the difference in mid and difference in the gain. And I need to triple check what preamp tubes are in here, because that could definitely make a difference in the gain staging here. So I will check that before the end of this video, and we'll see what's going on there. All right, so now let's go over to the lead channel and check that out, right? All right, so right now we're on the JSX. Let's go to the, not the lead channel, the ultra channel, right? Okay, that's without the fat switch on. And that sounds a little anemic to me. It sounds like it needs some thickness. But we're gonna go ahead and compare it to the XXX2, which, that's funny, because the ultra channel on the XXX2 is lead instead of ultra. I guess that was a Joe Satriani thing, huh? All right, so here is the lead channel on the XXX2. Okay, that definitely sounds thicker than the JSX, and that's interesting. I don't have the fat switch on, so let's go over to the JSX and turn the fat switch on. Before we do that, you can hear it again. Definitely needs a little bit of thickness in there, right? Let's go ahead and throw the fat switch on. It's still not quite there yet. Let's go ahead and throw some bass in there. So it's at 3 o'clock now. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the XXX2. So there it is again. There's that noise. The noise. It's the Mesa Boogie sound. It's very interesting. It's that scoop mid kind of thing with the high end and thicker lows. I'm starting to get an idea of what the difference is here now. And it's just between these two amps. Now maybe this one's a little different. Who knows who's done what to this amp. I took a look at it to kind of clean some things up, but I didn't notice any kind of like strange mods or anything different without looking at a schematic or anything. But so far, we'll just keep going. How about that? All right, we're on the XXX2. Like I would definitely turn down some of the treble on that and pump up the mids and give it a little bass. See what that sounds like now. Okay, that's a little too much, or I dropped the treble a little too far. There we go. That's a killer tone right there. Let's go back to JSX again. Okay, so I would think that the JSX would definitely cut through just a tad bit more than the XXX without having to really push some of the EQ in here. Maybe even an EQ in the loop. But with the right amps and the right mix, either of these would be awesome. So I'll jam away on some more of these riffs and kind of, let's see, what else do I want out of it? The bass sounds good right there, but I'm even going to push the resonance to 3 o'clock. Let's do that. Let's see what it sounds like now. Dude, that's... That's it. That's the tone for me for the JSX. And I did have to push the bass up some. Looks like the treble's back a tad. Maybe even drop the mids on this one. Let me push up the treble just a tad there. XXX2. Yeah, see, this one isn't cutting as much now. Let's bring up the treble on that. Oh, sorry. And bring up the mids even more. And let's see what that sounds like. I do like that. Oh, one thing we haven't done yet is turn on the fat switch on the XXX2. Let's go ahead and do that and see what that sounds like. Okay, JSX. I kind of like how the JSX doesn't have as much gain. It kind of makes the notes pronounce a little bit more. Let's go back to XXX2 to see if we can cut some of the gain and make the notes come out there a little bit more too. All right, JSX. At the moment, I'm really enjoying playing the JSX more. Well, let's go back to the XXX2. And I know that I pushed the resonance on this guy. do that to 3 o'clock as well. I know there's a difference in the bass here and the bass here, but let's just see where the resonance sits now. Shit. Forgot how to play a song, but that's definitely where I like that. That sounds pretty sick. All right, let's kind of wrap this up, and let's go through these two really quick again on the lead and ultra channel to see where I would like the amp to be set, and then we'll just call it, right? So that seems a little thick to me. Let's bring up some treble in there just to kind of cut through it. I dig that. I'm good with that one. And then with the JSX, I think we figured that one out already. Dang. Now, looking at the wave files, it looks like the XXX was a little bit louder, maybe because of the resonance. But that's a tough choice, because now the JSX sounds like it has that Mesa, like scooped mids and higher end. We did scoop the mids a little bit, so there's that. It sounds great. Let's go ahead and just actually push the mids, just see what that sounds like. All right, I think that's it for this one. We went through both of these, and I do feel like that the XXX2 sits more in that Mesa range at noon with everything, and that this JSX is more of that Marshall feel. I don't think pushing the mids on the XXX2 helped put it into that realm of a very prominent sounding amp. And it's still just kind of stuck there. So I definitely wouldn't use a XXX2 with a Mesa Boogie. That would probably still, both of them be sitting in the same kind of frequency and wouldn't work out too well. Other bits about this is that, no, I don't think they're the same amp. The clean is better on the JSX, I think. The crunch is more crunch-like on the JSX, and the XXX2, it's more of a metal sounding crunch. Maybe that's because of the difference in tubes. I'll still have to look into that. And maybe I think the lead and the ultra channels, you know, there's a difference in gain there too. And the overall difference is, I feel that the JSX is just more mid-forward, contrary to what people have said or what they've seen in schematics or whatever. But I'm sitting here listening to it. I got the cab right in front of me. That's what I'm picking up. Anyways, that's it for this. D&D out. Little update. The power tubes in this one is EL34s, and the power tubes in this one is KT77s. They're supposed to have the same mid character as far as the tubes go. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I did not look at the preamp tubes of these guys yet, and let's see if I want to take it apart. Maybe I'll make a later video and bunch it in with this one. Let's see.